Well, good afternoon. A bit different today, a bit cooler. I think a bit rain really, or good after dinner time. So, been a bit overcast and all, but they say it's going to have a bit of rain here sometime. I hope everybody's all right. Keeping quiet or doing all right, because it won't be long now. We just had our little message now that we've got to have our flu injection very soon. They roll up for each winter now. You'll have an armful of holes with all the injections. But there we are, to keep us going, suppose. Anyhow, this here one is by Babs Owen. It's called Ginny Ankin's Parlour. Hello, that you, Teresa? Me gar, I ain't stopping for a long day. You see, I'm Steve with the cold. I'm going in a minute, and it'll set up the slab till tea time. I daren't care if it just snow. 'Tis cold as Ginny Ankin's parlour. What? Ain't I never told you about me old man and Ginny Ankin's parlour? She used to live over across from me when she first wed, in Atlantic Row, leading downright chapel. She was. Always wore the prettiest of that there silkiest dress, and the best seat up front, and the loudest voice when they sang the anthem. I can mind her sailing down the aisle with old Daggy Ankin following behind like a little dog. Every once in a while she took into her head to invite all the wee women in for tea, and even in the height of the summer it was a cold fidgety place, her parlour that is, and her sandwiches always tasted like sawdust and train oil. Well, in the fullness of time, old Doggy passed on, and there we left with she was on her own, a fine house and 2 letting cottages down by the stream. Jenny turned real gripey and started to cry poverty. In fact, within 12 months, she was so mean he wouldn't believe it. My front door being on an opposite to hers, I come in for the worst of it. Start off, 'twas the bowl of sugar, then flour for a pasty thin. And winter came on and she got fast to me old man. I'd seen she afford chacking to him over the back wall as he come in from the alley from his allotment. Oh, my dear old Bessie saw it all. A few tomatoes, a nice turnip, a few sprouts, little bag of taters. I was fit to be tied. That better weed wasn't a learning of me, old man, then setting in chapel Sunday, so proud, pure, 'tis a wonder I didn't scat to her. Then come a day a bit like this was, one wi' a wind sharp enough to cut off the smile off your face and the labbits from your head. 'Twas just darkening up for evening when I catch me old man going up the passage of the front door with a bucket of my best coal in his hand. How I didn't holler out, I shall never know. 'Stead I watched him off through the crack of the kitchen door, walking like he was on butter. And when he shut the front door behind him, I nepped into my front room and watched through the window. He tapped on Jenna's door. It opened a crack, and in he went. I was steamed up, fit bust. But so then told me I must be artful. So I's on with my slippers and follers him over the road. Lord be praised, there was no one out in the road, not even she next door. So I leaned against Jenna's front door and listens. Not a sound. I gave the door a little push, and it weren't latched, so there was the key in the hole. So I took off the old key, quick as a pisky, locked frae the outside, and put the key in my apron pocket. Me gar, I was some mazed. I ran down alley side of the house and into her backyard. 'Twas bram dark by this, and her light was shining illa through the window. I ooched up against her back door. I heard that Jezebel say, "Your kindness itself, and such a dear friend to a poor widder woman. Cust to stay a minute and take a cup of tea with me." "I don't mind if I do," my old man said, and that did it. I opened the back door, and there was that second key. Yes, I locked both in there and slammed the back door till it fair echoed up the street. Then I went home and sat at the front window to watch. But first I lit girt fire in my front room grate. After a minute or two, when I heard a great capper house going on cross road, me old man pushes down her parlour window and hollers, "Bessie, Bessie." Then Jenny comes up and begs to be silent, and 'twas me who sat by the fire, and I left her there till midnight. I could see his pale face by her window, and when I was sure the neighbours was gone to bed, I let him out. Oh, my life, he was near enough dead with the cold. Jenny had gone and locked herself in the toilet to compliment her sins. I no doubt me and my old man sat by the window in the cold all that time. What's that? No, there weren't no hanky-panky. Neither of 'em was brave enough. I know that, but he deserved a lesson for giving that woman her coal. She moved away after a couple of days, went to her sister's up Cameron. Said 'twas cheaper for two together than two on their own. But laugh, me old man to say when he's feeling the cold. "Mother," he says, "'tis colder than Jenny Anker's parlour." Well, look at the time. He kept me gossiping again, Teresa, and my feet's like two chickens just come out of the freezer. See again. I'm just going to do this one a little minute. Comes in, I'm making a bit klidgy for the sweet stall up chapel garden fete. I like a bit of homemade toffee. You do. Jack got a very sweet tooth, and we'd generally get a few toffees or a bit fudge on the go. Got watch your feelings though, haven't we? What was it like in the war when you couldn't get sweets for love nor money? Well, it was few round if you had the coupons, but no selection like we got now, was it? I remember there was someone uptown where if you'd get them bits sugar, if you had any, you could buy a few of they boiled sweets you make. Things like pear drops or acid drops. You used to take the skin off your tongue, but we kids thought they was handsome. Then the ration come off, the word would get round that there was sweets down Walrose. That done it. People would go mad then, wouldn't they? And he'd be queued up out to the door. Hard to imagine it now, isn't it? Sometimes Saturdays mother would make peanut brittle. And I know that when I was a little girl I used to take bit Sunday school with me on Sunday mornings. In these days, after the Sunday service was over, we would go in chapel for the service. Oh, we had children to sit in the choir. We never used to listen much to the sermon. We was only young, and I was starting to pass round this here peanut brittle. Of course, he'd been in my pocket, and by this time we'd be all stuck to the paper, so he used to cause a bit of a stir. The teachers would look at he blacker than thunder. How did I get on all that? Well, that then? Oh, yes, I'm making this here klidgy. It always sells very well on the stall, though, doesn't it? People do like a bit of homemade stuff for a change. I think I better make a bit extra too, 'cause the grandchildren be here directly, and it'd be ructions if I haven't got bit for they. So I better get going. Thank you now.